excellent academic feast. And the session which we are going to have is like the importance of nutrition and exercise in the era of GLP-1. So we heard from Dr. Anish itself the way he has shown the importance of nutrition into his presentation. The stage is all set for the panel discussion. So I would like to start on with a thought that yes, medication can play a very, very important role and can change the numbers. But if we talk about our lifestyle and diet, that can actually change their lives. I hope most of the people sitting over here agree with this thought. So GLP-1 receptors, we heard about that they have transformed the way we look at obesity or the diabetes management and offering the variable, remarkable benefits in terms of the appetite regulation and weight loss, good metabolic control. But however, while these medications are powerful tools, they are not the substitute for the healthy lifestyle that we understand. And we always say that nutrition and exercise continue to be a cornerstone for the long term health and ensuring the sustainable some results also, and preventing this muscle loss which we have been discussing about, and maintaining good metabolic flexibility. So let's explore how we can manage best by integrating the medical nutrition therapy with the lifestyle strategies to create this holistic and patient-centered approach. So my first question would go to, since we are going to begin out with the diet first, so my question goes to Shruti Bhardwaj. So Shruti, can you please explain us by sharing that what kind of actually the dietary pattern complements with the GLP-1 therapy?
Yes, thank you. So first of all, thank you Bansi sir, Smita ma'am, IPEN India and Shilpa Verma ma'am for giving me this opportunity. So I think the previous speakers spoke about much about customized nutrition, personalized plan. When it comes to the dietary pattern in patients who are on GLP-1, so we need to take care. Definitely a calorie restriction is one of the major part, but with balanced diet, because as the time duration increases of this Mounjaro and all that, the time duration increases, all these patients tends to develop nausea, feeling of fullness. So it is very difficult. Calorie restriction, it is very easy to track that, but meeting the micro and proteins, it is very difficult sometimes to meet up, keeping in mind the daily pattern.
So there is no specific dietary pattern which we need to
Yes,
follow?
definitely calorie restriction with balanced diet, and definitely customized tailoring the complications like constipation, the nausea issues in the initial time period, and the third is exercise.
So since you've named it as an exercise, my next question would go to Shruti Patel for knowing about whether from an exercise or lifestyle perspective, how do you see the training working together with the patients of GLP-1 along with the diet goes well? And if there is any specific type of exercise recommendation for such kind of patients?
Yeah, sure. So thank you. I just want to thank you, Bansi sir, Samita ma'am, for this platform. Every year they are providing us, and this time we have IPN India with us. So back to the question. So there is a specific exercise regime we have to follow along with the patient on the GLP-1. As Shruti had already mentioned about the diet. So exercise, the major three factors which we are having with the GLP-1 patient is, the first is the fat loss, the second is your appetite suppression, and the third is the muscle loss. And there can be the reduction of bone density also. So the third portion we have to cover up with the exercise. So the patient is what we know is a phase of adaptive thermogenesis, which is their RMR, which is rest metabolic rate is lower in the GLP patients. So to increase the RMR, we have to do the exercise to increase the muscle loss.
So anything specific about increasing the strength or the flexibility or
so we have three type of exercises. So the best proven data shows that strengthening and the resistance exercise is the best for the GLP-1 patients, and also along with that aerobic is giving the benefits. So a combination of all the three exercises is giving the best result for the GLP-1 patients. So we can say that 2 to 3 times of the resistance training a week, and then 2 to 3 times of aerobic training per week, and 1 to 2 times of the balance or flexibility training that will give a better result along with the GLP-1 therapy.
So, I mean, like for GLP-1 patients, so exercise plays an important role to prevent the
Yes.
muscle loss.
Yes,
And
definitely.
during this, the weight loss which they have been having, and for improving the insulin sensitivity and the other metabolic
Yes.
health
Basically, we
factors
have to work to increase the BMR of the patient. We have
Okay.
to increase the energy expenditure of the patient to build up the muscle loss.
Thank you. So, Rima ma'am, in your experience, like, how do you feel that GLP-1 is the best introduced for the patients who have been already attempted with the structured kind of nutrition intervention various? So, would you like to recommend this kind of way of losing weight?
Uh, Thank you, Shilpa. And very good afternoon to all of you. Again, thank you so much for having me here. So, Shilpa, you know, traditionally, whatever guidelines we have studied, they all say that, the lifestyle changes come first before the doctor really starts the medication. Right. Healthy diet, physical exercise, behavioral changes, all these things are started when the patient is diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But if you go through the latest guidelines, the latest ADA guidelines 2025, which say that early intervention of the GLP-1 or the medication should start to avoid the long-term complications. So I don't think we need to wait for the lifestyle to fail. We can start, a proper dosage, which will complement to the lifestyle changes. Like a patient, needs to know about the lifestyle change, the meal planning, the cooking, the skills, or the meditation, the stress, how to decrease the stress. So all these things along with the medication are going to help. So we are not dealing with each thing on its own. We have to combine these two
Cumulative
things.
therapy we
So
need to think of.
yes, so it should be a combined approach or an integrated approach rather than a stepped up approach. Like traditionally we used to do one thing after the other, but now especially with the high risk patient, I think we can do an integrated approach rather than a stepped up
So
approach.
there has to be particular category of patients wherein we need to look upon for this kind of way, or you
So
would straight away, like-
obesity is one primary thing. Also patients who have kidney problems or who already have liver issues, they could definitely benefit from a combination treatment.
Okay. So while we were discussing about like whether it is an important or not, we have come to know that along with the lifestyle interventions like diet and exercise, so GLP-1 is wherein like we can look for the patients not waiting for the therapies to be failed, but along as a kind of a therapy which can actually help them at an earliest phase. So when we are talking about this, and there were lots of practical challenges also we face while we are dealing with such patients. And with reduced appetite, patients are normally at a risk of these nutrition gaps and muscle loss and all what we've been hearing also about. So Shruti, my question to you is like, since you spoke about like there should be calorie restriction with a balanced diet, so how do you ensure that the patient of GLP-1 who is having a very reduced intake, nausea and other things are also being present, so how do you ensure that there is an adequate amount of proteins and other micronutrients which have been taken care for these patients?
Yeah. So, all these patients in my setup I'm talking about, we do a basic screening, and actually all do the basic screening before starting this drug. So we do the BCA, we do the vitamin B12, vitamin D test, and there is one my recent patient who is coming for me for the consultation from last 1 month. In the initial phase, the weight or automatically the weight reduction started happening. But the moment the dosage increases from 2 to 2.5 to then 5, that period is a very crucial time. We need to more educate to the patient, that to tell about that it's not only about calorie restriction, we need to more focus on the preserving muscle mass also. So here for muscle mass, you need to take care of the protein and the micronutrient, especially vitamin D, both the things together. So I think educating at this point of time will help patient more, because and or at the same time, like we as Shilpa ma'am spoke about in her talk about carbs profiling, like it's not about giving how much carbs, but profiling also plays an important role here. In this case also, we need to ensure that we need to break up protein in such a way, because already the satiety feeling is there in all these type of patient. We need to ensure that we need to break in a small meals, so we can easily meet up their
Any
protein
specific
requirement.
protein strategies which you follow for your patients? How do
Yes.
you
Yes, so
try to
generally
complete it in the diet?
like, yeah, so what we do, like as we talk about in a general kind of pattern where these patient are not on these drugs, so we start, like we tell that you first focus on protein, then fiber, then carbs. But here in this type of patient, usually we can plan, instead of in a major meal, we can plan proteins in a lunch or somewhere in the mid meals. So then the satiety feeling, that not because the moment they will take their first meal, and it is probably, we are not sure that the lunch and dinner, by that time they actually feel hungry or not, right?
Any specific tip which you'd like to give you the audience, that in case of patients on GLP-1, because this is a kind of patient has an over dependence on the medication, because
Yes.
the results are been happening. So
Yes.
sometimes they ignore the dietary part also and the exercise part.
Yes, so
also.
as I spoke about my recent patient, I suggested him a customized plan, but among that also, he is not able to take 30 to 40% of that. So then I again, the frequent follow-up, and again we need to more educate them, because here as behavioral therapy and all that plays an important role.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Shruti Patel, so do you think that exercise can actually help such kind of patients which can have counteract muscle loss and sarcopenic risk, and on this during this rapid weight loss period on GLP-1?
Yeah. So as I told earlier that this is a phase when the patient is on GLP-1 therapy. This is a phase of a patient is on the adaptive thermogenesis. So let me explain in terms of calories, as we all are dietitians here. So if a patient is on the BMR of 2000 calories, and along with that the patient is now on the GLP-1 therapy, so the BMR will reduce dose by dose. So BMR may be reducing by 1800, but actually the BMR will reduce to 1600 because of the muscle loss also. Because the muscle loss is also going in the body along with the fat loss, right? So as Shruti have rightly mentioned, that we have to be particularly give the protein dose in every meal to build up that muscle loss, so that we can have the basic metabolic rate of the patient which we have to maintain, which will give the strength to the body. So for that we have to give the energy expenditure, and that will come from the exercise only, right? So the patient have to go for the exercise, maybe what are the pattern I have told you earlier. So they can start with a minimum exercise of 1 hour per day, and along with that we have to personalize the fitness plan along with the diet. If we are increasing the fitness plan, we have to increase the protein in the diet. So simultaneously everything should go hand in hand.
We need to
Right.
have an individualized diet and a
Yes.
structured kind of an exercise plan for these patients.
Yeah.
Rima ma'am, like we've been talking about the different strategies for exercise and diet, so there are major nutritional concerns for these patients, like nausea and all. So do you help our audience, like for having some quick points onto that, how we can help these patients out from the dietary point of view?
Yes, so as Shruti has already mentioned, that there is reduced appetite and there is nausea, vomiting, bloating, people who are on
So any
GLP.
specific foods which can help these patients out for
I
managing these
think
symptoms?
the idea is to give nutrient dense but less volume kind of foods, and like yesterday, we had a very nice panchayat happening, yesterday evening, and Dr. Vadgama had really, we discussed a very interesting case where the gym people and everybody, the non-qualified people have also now started advising GLP-1, not only diet but even the medication.
Yeah.
So I think first of all, basically we need to see that this is not happening, right? Also, the dietitian has to be really qualified to tackle these problems, because giving a nutrient dense but low volume, even the liquids, hydration has to be taken care of as well. When a patient is nauseous, she or he is not able to really have liquid diet. So there are a lot of combinations which have to work, especially for an individual. Personalized diet has to be being given, because the goal or the response also of a patient is very different one from another. So it's necessary.
Priority needs to be on the,
Yes, so there has to be a priority that what the patient needs. Now, for example, when a person is, having nausea and vomiting, or reduced appetite, and cannot even tolerate the smell of eggs, and you are giving eggs to these patients and they cannot tolerate. So there is going to be a deficiency of protein. Along with, because the patient cannot have so much food, and there is going to be micronutrient deficiency along with the protein deficiency.
we need to work on to
So
those
you
kind
need
of
to
balanced
work
diet.
on very small things, and I think a qualified dietitian is capable of looking after all this.
So all these things need to be, yes, you need to add something.
So if we are looking for a protein dense diet, so along with that we have to take care that patient is having a reduced appetite, right? So we have to work on the microorganisms also in our gut, right? So we have a very good kind of things with us which we have in our kitchen, like adrak. We can give a kind of such things which can increase the appetite of the patients and which can improve the intake of the patient along with the GLP-1 therapy. So such kind of small things we have to introduce along with the protein intake we are giving to the patient. Only then the patient is able to take the protein itself, right?
So small little functional foods
Yes,
can be
functional
added.
foods do add
Hydration
to
can
that,
be
yes.
kept in point.
Yeah, and even the timing.
The meal timing,
of
balanced
the,
meal.
yeah. So we need to find out when the patient is most nauseous, or when the patient cannot tolerate certain things. So we need to, look into all that and prescribe a diet.
Yeah, I want to add on, Shilpa ma'am. I think that these nausea and all that problem mostly after the dose from initial 1-2 days is more as compared in a whole week. Like if patient is taking today, so for next 2-3 days the nausea, that's fullness feeling is more. So I think these 2-3 days are more important to take care.
Till the time
Then
it
as the
settles
time
up.
again in it's the end of the week again they start taking their intake.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's very common. So, especially during the first 2 days, we try not to give them a very high protein, especially to start the day with. So that can be definitely, that's the case.
So if we go for a little bigger picture, like integrating the lifestyle with the pharmacotherapy as for a long-term success, as we've been discussing about. So Shruti, I would like to ask, like, can this our medical nutrition therapy improves the tolerance? Do you agree with the statement?
Yes, I think
And the
definitely.
outcomes of the GLP-1 use?
Yes, definitely. Because we, with the right kind of medical nutrition therapy along with drug, we are taking care as a qualified professional. We are taking care to preserve muscle mass, taking care that of patient will not deficient in micronutrient supplements. So I think it is very important.
And Shruti Patel, I would like to ask, like, since you've been talking about more of exercise part, so do you think that it is a kind of like fitness collaborators and the dietitians along with, so they
Yeah,
can actually
definitely.
help more into this era of GLP-1 rather than being
Yeah,
having an
obviously
individualized
yeah,
approach.
it's a teamwork. We always say that doctor plays a role, a dietitian always plays a role along with the doctor, and plus the fitness coach is also playing the role in this. Also, along with that, the healthcare providers, right? So it's a teamwork that everything should be communicated to each one of them, and there should be a monitor for everyone, so they can form a kind of a team to discuss the case and act according to that. Only that we get the output better in the GLP-1 therapy.
So basically, GLP-1 is a kind of a tool. It's
Yeah,
not a kind of a replacement for
base.
our lifestyle. So Rima ma'am, how do you think that if we need to redefine it, the relationship between the pharmacotherapy and the lifestyle medicine for the future? So how would you give a message kind of a thing to the audience that we can have it?
So it is not either or, it is both. You need to do both. You need to take the medication because that's going to help you with reduced appetite and reduced cravings, which will help the dietitian to, help plan a better diet and, you know, there is a guarantee that the patient will definitely follow because patient with diabetes feels hungry all the time and cannot control the cravings. So this drug actually will help them to curb the cravings and a balanced diet could be given where the patient definitely we need to look into the patient's adherence also. But that could be done with counseling, and I think a combination of both will help in, avoiding the long-term complications.
So GLP-1 is effective, but our lifestyle remains still non-negotiable. I would like to open the questions for the audience too. If anyone would like to ask our panelist some specific question for. Yeah, sir, please.
I have a comment. We are talking about GLP-1. So every patient taking GLP-1 doesn't develop nausea and vomiting. Only few people develops, and that to be
Sir, agree.
at an initial stage.
Yes.
So if the nausea and vomiting is there, you are losing protein as well as carbohydrate and fat. So we have to, as madam said, one should take balanced diet rather than focusing on protein. If a patient has a long-term diabetes and person develops sarcopenia, I can understand protein should be given. But to make GLP-1 culprit for this, I don't think it is ethical.
No, no, definitely, sir. So I think we are also talking about the combination of how the combination of right medical nutrition therapy and GLP-1 can help patient for better outcomes, whether in terms of weight reduction, whether in terms of managing, reaching the blood sugar targets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely agree, sir. All these symptoms, as you had mentioned, we also had mentioned nausea. This is the initial time only, but as the time duration increases of the medication, so these symptoms definitely will go away.
As you all calculate the diet of the patient,
Yes.
50, 30 and 20. 30 should be the fat and 20% should be protein and 50% should be carbohydrate. If a person of GLP-1 is taking this diet, I don't think that we unnecessarily add some protein to them.
No, sir, it's not, sir. Here, as we are talking about the calorie restricted diet, definitely, but meeting protein sometimes also is very challenging. I think you also feel in your practice that all these patients, after a 1 week or 2 weeks, they come to you that looking at the food also we feel full. So at that time, educating them that how it's not about calorie, it's about meeting your macros, proteins and fiber, and also along with your micronutrients.
So everything should be taken care.
Yes, so I
Yes,
think
yes,
the
it
more
has to be
educating
a-
at this moment is the right step for patient also.
Yeah, so it has to be a balanced approach, definitely.
Okay, so before we conclude, will any more questions from the audience? So I would like Dr. Anish to give some concluding remarks before we conclude this panel discussion.
Yeah, it was an interesting talk, and ultimately, it's the practical and the customized thing that ultimately plays a role rather than just following a rigid protocol or the guidelines. And if we can follow that, then that would be useful for our patients. Thank you.